All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Father Figures. I have a good buddy of mine, Nathan Dosch, with us today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for
really
having me.
appreciate it. Dad, business owner,
Yeah,
better golfer than me.
I know it's debatable.
You've got some life work in golf here too that we're going to jump into. But wanted to just get you on here, get you talking about everything from family to work, what you're doing, and some of your passion project stuff that you're working on now with the Junior Cup. So we'll jump into that.
Sounds great.
So why don't we just introduce yourself, just a little background, who's Nathan and what can we expect from you?
Yeah, well, a lot of times people start maybe with what you do for a living. I'm not going to do that. I'm originally from North Dakota. Grew up, born and raised it that way.
Where in North Dakota?
Devils Lake, North Dakota.
Okay.
Then went to North Dakota State for my undergrad. I got a degree in business administration, emphasis in finance there. Had never been to Wisconsin, but wanted to go to law school, and I applied at Marquette.
Okay.
Got in there. Came out here sight unseen to the great state that I've been called home for 23 years. And yeah, I met a girl at that point. Got my law degree in 2004. We got married in 2004. And I've been practicing law in some fashion since that time, so over 20 years. So that's the part of, what do I do for a living?
Yeah.
That's a bigger conversation that we'll get into. As you know, I'm not a traditional lawyer per se.
Yep.
I've got my hands in a lot of different areas. I've referred to myself more as like a business consultant, business advisor.
Yeah.
Because I also help with the financial side of things. I have a master's degree in tax from UW Milwaukee. I've worked in public accounting. I've worked at law firms. I've worked in bank trust departments, wealth management areas.
Yeah. Law and tax.
Yeah, all the fun stuff, right?
Actually makes a lot of people cringe. It's great to have someone like you in our back pocket, I tell you.
It's been a pleasure of mine. I grew up, my family was small business owners. It's always been a passion of mine.
Okay.
We owned a gift store. My dad's a practicing attorney. My mom had a shoe store.
Okay.
In our little hometown. And if you can picture Devils Lake, North Dakota, it's there, It's got an old cute little downtown area. There's actually a main street. It reminds me a lot, actually, of a little bit of Parkland.
Yeah.
Sitting there now. Yeah, we've got that one main pass, and that's where stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been always a passion of mine to be able to help the small, medium-sized business owners to be able.
Yeah.
A lot of it is transition-based stuff. I spent most of my career doing estate planning, succession planning, stuff early part of my career, and maybe the last 10 years or so, the focus has been on more advisory, and then ultimately that transition for a lot of these business owners as they're getting to their, like, what am I going to do when I grow up?
Yep.
Which, you help a lot of those clients with professionally too. Like, I've had a business for 20, 25 years, and now I have to look at being an investor, or do I have enough to be able to make that transition? And how will I? Yeah. 20 years ago, there might have been son or daughter in the business. Mm-hmm. Now it just doesn't seem to happen quite as much.
Yeah. Yeah. We did a good video on that for my financial planning from Regular Financial Strategies. It's on our YouTube channel that we sent out to members and stuff, and they're able to go on there and look at that. And I got a lot of feedback on it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that was fun too. But we scratched the surface.
I know. There's only so much time, and it's like, every situation is so different. That's why I always say, like, when you're thinking about this stuff, just talk to someone like yourself.
Yep.
And just figure it out.
Well, I think what keeps people from taking the next step is it's the forest. It looks so daunting. Mm-hmm. There's so much unknown that, right? They're used to being an effective business owner. They can do that. That's their lane. And when you start to look at the tax and the legal and how do we do this, it just looks too daunting for most. And that's where, we take a step back, and that's where that advice can be helpful and say, it's a more of a mindset. Like, this is one tree. We just have to cut that one tree down. Mm-hmm. And then we'll cut this tree down, and we'll cut that tree down. Mm-hmm. The forest, then you can get a pathway through it. Yeah. It just takes plan. Yeah. And it takes patience, and then the understanding. Don't get overwhelmed by everything that's going on.
Sounds like parenting.
It very much is. Yeah. Really good transition into that.
That sounds just like parenting. It's like, what's the next step of, like, 'Cause you have a couple of kids now. They're teenagers, right? Almost teenagers.
Almost teenagers, yeah. One is a full blown teenager.
Yeah.
He graduates 8th grade in a couple of days. So,
Yeah.
So he'll be in the high school.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I know it's that part's crazy to think about it. Again, growing up in North Dakota, when I got my license, my driver's license when I was 14 years old. And now here I sit with a 14-year-old, and I'm like, I can't imagine.
How did you get it when you were 14? Is that what it was in North Dakota?
Yeah, it was agricultural.
I guess it was the farm.
Influenced laws that get us. So we lived in a rural area. I didn't grow up on a farm, but
Yeah.
a lot of my friends and classmates did.
Yeah.
And that was just at the time.
And they were probably driving trucks at 8 and still.
Oh, they were driving
his license.
Right. But they had to. It was all hands on deck to do that stuff. But we had kids that drove to freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
I can still remember it. Football practice started in August, and we had kids that literally I rode with my friend.
Yeah.
Not a parent.
Yeah. So would you like to take your car to school right now?
That's what I'm saying. There's no chance. I might need my 10-year-old drive.
Yeah.
Before my 14. No, I don't get it. That's been great. They have two boys, 14 and 10.
Yeah.
They're your statement about like being a parent and what that all looks like. I can still remember when my oldest was born. I'm like, oh my god, now what?
Yeah.
Like now it's all that responsibility and when your mind works in that planning fashion, can I do this? Like there's so many things. It's your responsibility.
Yeah.
And I've said it a number of times every time I possibly can to them. Like that's the greatest thing that I feel like I'll ever do on this planet is to be their dad.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my decisions, all of my decisions largely impact or are impacted by them.
Yeah.
Including my career trajectory where when I started, I was at bigger law firms or bigger accounting firms, bigger organizations with less flexibility.
Yeah.
And they were great places. I loved every stop that I had. But as my kids started to get older, and then ultimately, the sad detour in my personal life was I got divorced 6 years ago, which was an aspect of the parenting. Like that's not the vision. That wasn't on my vision board for bringing kids into the world. It turned out that it's worked out great. My ex and I get along outstanding. We co-parent my champions. But around that same period of time, I was still in kind of corporate America. And like I need more flexibility.
Yeah.
And so 6 months after I got divorced, I opened up my law firm, went out on my own. I had 0 clients.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I got to do this because I got picked up at 2:30 or 3 o'clock. And I want to coach my kids, be in their life.
Yeah.
And be impactful in their life.
Yeah.
So it was a risk. But that entrepreneurial spirit that I kind of grew up with, I'm like, I'll figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And here I sit 6+ years later, it's worked out, amazing.
Yeah.
I can do the things I want to do. I can focus on the clientele that I want to focus on. I can work a 5-hour day in an office setting and still coach both my boys in baseball. For Landon Stillman, you touched on junior golf program that we started 3 years ago as a nonprofit that now has 350 3rd through 8th graders every week through our program.
Yeah. I'm excited to dive into that because that's amazing. That thing's going to blow off.
It already has, we'll get into it. I don't want to jump on that too much.
Yeah.
But it's been really a rewarding endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a village. It's not just me sitting here saying I did all of that because we've got, I've got 3 other co-founders, spouses of them that have been instrumental, and 70 or 80 coaches that volunteer, parent coaches that volunteer, every week.
Yeah.
I've seen these kids improve and that and have fun and get exposure to golf, which is a passion of mine. It's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got a 14-year-old, 10-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Started a business 6 years ago when they were just in the midst of chaos, and then obviously with you and your ex-spouse, just like the challenges of dealing with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
6 years of running the business, starting the junior cup 3 years ago. Like, what's your mind been like though? the last 6-7 years here. It's just been like,
Yeah,
that's a lot of stuff.
it's a lot. Yeah, and I talked to a really good friend group that you know a number of them because they're members of our golf club. You know, so that's been huge, a huge part of the support network.
Yeah.
For me, for good or bad. When I moved out here 23 years ago, I don't have any family around here. I don't have. My dad passed away 8 years ago. So yeah, that was tough. Still is. It does get easier, but it doesn't ever go away.
Yeah.
As people say all the time. It's true. But having that and being able to be, have to be more regimented and just, you know, there's times to do stuff and you have to be disciplined about it. But you also have to take time, like to your point, to be cognizant of how you're feeling and what your body's telling you, really where your mind's at. Because if you're losing that battle or you're not tending to yourself, then you're not effective at any of those categories. And ultimately, that my biggest priority is making sure I'm always present, healthy, and able to be a great dad. That's up here. And then, you know, but I have to do the work on myself, to be in a good place to do that. And that's always going to be the focus. The rest of it is, you know, we again very dedicated to those, like your schedule, taking time for everything that you have to do, making sure you're not over promising and under delivering, because that affects the business. It affects the all the coaching that I do, which is 20 some hours a week, probably the volunteer coaching with the various things that's out there. Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. It's hard to spread yourself that thin if you don't take the time and just have a minute. Yeah. Every now and again. Yeah. And find your outlets. Yeah. That's for me what golf really is, and especially with the friend groups that I have. When I get out there, I could shoot 73 or 85 and I'm gonna still walk off with a smile on my face because it was a great day. Yeah. I'm just enjoying that, just being present. And I think without that, it would be a lot harder. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have those outlets to just unwind a little bit and probably just reflect on things too. There's a lot of thinking that actually goes on in the golf course, not just about golf.
Correct. Yeah. It's 100% true. Yeah. And some of it's good and some of it's bad, right? Yeah. It's the biggest mental challenge. It has to be close to the top from a challenging activity. You can call it a sport, an activity, whatever it is. But when you're just over the golf ball or playing through whatever situation you're playing through, it's mentally exhausting. And you're gonna have life is going to get coming when you're out there. You know, I can sit here and say, "Oh, I just go out there and play golf." That's never true. Yeah, I still have my phone with me. It's still the only benefit I have one of those Garmin golf watches that when I put in the round, it silences, so I don't get the alerts.
Well, there you go.
On here. Nice. So I can kind of check out that way, but this doesn't ever stop.
No,
it's going. No, I was thinking about what you got to do later. Yeah, that's okay, but yeah, it's still a moment. You just got to remove yourself and just be present.
Are there any other things that you do to kind of help with the mental clarity and just kind of keep from burnout and, you know, all the different things you're working on?
Yeah,
obviously still trying to be the best parent you can.
Yeah, I mean, I try. I used to play it. I just don't have time to do it anymore. I used to play with a buddy, and we used to play music. I play drums. I've got the little studio of sorts in my basement. I've got a piano, drum set, guitar, all of which I can monkey around with and do stuff like that. I love music, so listen and stuff like that. Recently, I actually started getting into yoga a little bit, all the mindfulness, and like that's been really helpful. If like a good friend of mine, his wife is a yoga instructor, and you know, some of that stuff has been, I think, great. I would encourage everybody to try to do more of that. If you can. Great. I thought it was great for two reasons. One, it helps clear the mind. Yep. But second, I was realizing at 45, I'm not as nimble as I used to be. And that is how you can tell in the areas with 30 some years and after playing competitive golf, starting in high school and through college. And still today, we still play enough competitions. But all that golf takes its wear and tear as you get older. And I'm not as limber in the hips and core area as I'd like to be.
Yeah.
So that stuff's pretty good. But then you're just sitting there for 45 minutes, an hour, and you can just really try to find your center and get the mind out of it.
Trying to recapture that mind and bring it back is just, it's a challenge of its own. Like I try meditation. I do my best to do it.
Yeah.
But you lose yourself so fast. And no, come back, come back. Because you're thinking about email or my next task. Didn't finish yet. Like, should I be doing that instead of this? And,
No, that's the pressure, right? That's the hard part of being present. Is stuff is always out. Like that's what I always say. That there's going to be something that's going to pop. You have something that you should be doing, other than us even sitting here right now. So be doing client work or whatever that might be. That's why being mindful of your schedule and where you can allocate that time, and also just when you can do it, get it done. Don't push it off. Try your best not to procrastinate. On things, because that'll just build up and build up and build up, and then you have 19 things to do in 10 seconds to do it. That's a lot of stress. It's a lot of pressure.
I would imagine that, and you could probably add more on this, but like I don't know how the schedule works with you and your ex-wife about the schedule with the kids and stuff. But it's like if you got coaching at 4:30, it's like I've got 5 hours to get 8 hours worth of work done. And I better I can't be on my phone. I can't be doing this, that, or the other thing.
100%.
It's very, very scheduled and pressure.
Yeah, and you have to be efficient. That's one thing I've always been, especially work-wise, and just maintaining a house. I joke a lot. I'm a single dad 50% of the time. 100% accurate. When I have my boys, I have them. The beauty of where my ex and I are at is I think we co-parent like champs. Like we both have full-time jobs plus other stuff that we're involved in, and so we have to be able to help each other out. Sometimes I can't be
very affable.
It's for the kids. It's like, some people are like, that's kind of weird how close you guys still are with how you run things. I mean, is it? Like, I think it's the way.
You're two beautiful children that need us, and
they come first. Like whatever happened in that relationship is immaterial to being good parents. And you see it too much. That is one thing I've seen with just society as a whole, but even friend groups, where that animosity is just so unfair for kids. They got to see the bitterness between mom and dad. You just got a small heart to get over it, man. I don't care what happened. I don't care if you like the person, if you felt you get really hurt by him. Like at some point, you just got to say it's okay. I forgive you. Let's do the best we possibly can. Because our objective has to be these kids. Has to be. So we signed up for when we have. That's it.
Well, that just if that's not a showing of what your heart is like, that's number one key of like what's Nate's heart like. Right there, it shows.
I appreciate that. No, I feel like it's the best way to get through it. You're not always going to like some of those things or some circumstances, but it's part of being an adult, being a parent. It's making it the best for them. And I don't do it in a way. I'm not advocating for the bubble wrap or the helicopter aspects of parenting. They got to fall down and skid their knees sometimes. There's hardships. That's part of life. But they shouldn't have those things shouldn't be the byproduct of what we did, what their mother, the father did, or chose to do. Insulating them from that, I think, is a very fair point. The other part of life that they're going to have to learn hard lessons on, if they don't want to do their homework, that's on them. They're missing assignments. I'm not going to do their homework for them. I already went to school.
You've done enough schooling. You've got enough schooling in there.
And in the same mindset when it comes to athletics, too. I do coach them, but I don't treat them any differently than I treat the rest of the kids in the program. In fact, I'm probably far around it than I am other kids, because I feel like I think that's how most parent coaches tend to be. But also, it's reasonable expectations. Their effort in leads to the results. I tell them all the time, like, I already went to school, I already did my work there. I had a long and a very active athletic career. Like, I already did my stuff. I'm not living vicariously through you guys.
Yeah.
I'm helping you.
Mhm.
Like education and things I can pass along and help with, you know, the mindset of competition. But I'm not calling your other coaches and complaining about your playing time.
Mhm.
That's on you.
Yeah, if you want it, you go get it.
You go get it.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
My youngest is a super competitive gymnast. He's at the gym 15 or so hours a week, and
Really?
Yeah.
What does he do at the gym? Like, what's his?
They do all 6 men's events.
Okay.
So it's the whole slate. It's pretty remarkable. He started really young, and now I believe this was his 4th year winning state at his age and level.
Jeez.
2nd or 3rd in regionals. It's amazing. It's like watching the strength and the discipline and everything that goes into that. It's outstanding. I'm proud of it.
Where did he get this from?
I played ball sports, right?
Yeah.
He just got into it, and he also plays baseball. He begrudgingly plays golf. He tells me all the time how much he doesn't like golf. And that's the one thing I do say. I'm like, you're playing golf.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be tumbling past like 20, 22 years old.
Yeah.
You know? But you'll play golf when you're old like me.
Yeah.
And he's like, I still here.
It is a good game, even if you're not the best at it, to just be able to work your way around a golf course and just enjoy your time.
For sure. Yeah. I mean,
because like you said, trying for him to do gymnastics and stuff when he's, you know, our age,
not gonna happen.
we're not going to do it.
No. I can't. I look at when I'm at his meets, I'm like, at the rings, I'm like, I don't even know if I can pull myself up to, like this, and he's doing, you know, all the stuff on it. This is crazy.
So it's what is it? The rings, the
parallel bars, high bar, floor, vault, and what's the thing called?
The pole bars?
Yeah.
Jeez. I watched that. I've never actually seen it live. Doing it, but I was like, that was impossible.
Most all of those things for a normal human, I joke every time I go. I'm like, what would a regular person get if we just put them out there? What activity can you do here? Even remotely looks like what these children or young men are doing out here.
Well, that's really cool. That's awesome that he found that,
right,
and is so good at it.
Yeah, it's been awesome. But I tell them in regards to those other sports, my oldest plays soccer and also plays baseball. It's important that because of the time commitments that go into it, and just being honest with club sports and private things like that, there's a financial commitment that goes into it. So you can give those opportunities, and luckily we've been blessed with the opportunity to be able to provide those opportunities to our kids. But they have to fill in the rest, right? It can't just be, you go do this and push them. They have to want to do it.
Yeah.
So I've had honest conversations. Like, if you guys lose the passion and you don't want to do it, we'll have a conversation a little bit and figure out something else to do. Maybe it's not this level. Maybe it's not select level. Maybe it's something less. Because it just has to be fun. Mm-hmm. They get too much going on at too early an age to make it to zap the fun a bit fun. I don't know if I could imagine their normal schedule. I feel like I live it sometimes, but they go to school 9 hours a day, and then they go to 1 or 2 practices a night. There's a lot of nights we leave the house at 7 in the morning and get home at 8:30 at night. Yeah. And if you're doing that every day, which we do, and you're not having fun, yeah, fine.
That's such a good point. I had another guy on the podcast too. He's been coaching his kids and other kids for probably 20 plus years. Mm-hmm. And he was saying the same thing. He's like, as soon as it becomes work and not fun anymore, it's time to reevaluate. You have to. That's just being fair. Mm-hmm. And compassionate, because it's the burnout I think that you see, and I see it with some of the kids that I've coached over the years. I've coached baseball now. This is my 7th year.
and now 2 teams for the 3 years and that. And you see as the kids get up there and you see the influence that the parents have on that. And you can tell when a kid's just burned out.
Mm-hmm.
It does not into it anymore.
Yeah.
And parents keep making them calm and keep making them calm. It's going to lead to that kid being resentful or just quitting.
Mm-hmm.
Where that doesn't have to be the case. There's other options. There can still be fun. It just might not have to be at this level, right?
Yeah.
When you're playing 40 baseball games this summer, maybe you're playing in a rec league and you're playing 15. That's better than sitting on the couch playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
You need to zap their love of a sport they probably enjoyed.
Yeah.
But some parents are just, they can't get past that. So there's a little bit too much of that, well, I missed my chance, that living vicariously aspect of it. I wish I would have done this when I was 30. You're not. Sorry to say.
Yeah. What are some key things with your kids? Obviously, with the you're touching base with them, making sure that they're they're not burning out on sports and things like that. But what are you guys doing to like keep encouraging them and keep them on track with schoolwork and that crazy schedule?
Mm-hmm.
It's like how do you balance that? Because education is obviously very important.
Yeah,
and you guys and stuff, but then you have the school schedules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one is probably one we do try to stay on more. Maybe that's more education to me. Yes, my ex is also has a doctorate degree. So we
You guys got training for
a long time.
Yeah.
And it takes work and dedication to that craft as well. It's also draining. It's not physically draining, with that mental side of things. And school's different for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm just try to ask the right questions and just be involved in where they're at, what they're working on. You can have those conversations on a daily basis. What's going on in school? Like what's any big projects coming up? How are you feeling about this? Just I've always tried to have just the most open dialogue I can with I'm their dad. I'm not their friend all the time, but it's a safe space to have conversations. Always. That's easier said than done sometimes. When kids do what kids do.
You're in last year.
Yeah. You're going to ask them. Right. Like, every step and time, put your phone down. Put your phone down. They're like, yeah, no, I will in a second. But it's keeping them, allowing them the opportunity to decompress, I think, is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
If they want to just be kids for a bit, let them be kids. That's a huge part of it. Sometimes people, get back, we celebrate the day we don't have something in the evening sometimes where we can just chill. They can, get a little bit of time, get some screen time, do some of that stuff. But, let's just do something fun that doesn't require thought. And, play board games, card games, whatever. Just go for a hike, go fishing, stuff like that. Where it kind of is their yoga a little bit, where they get to just not think about their sports and their competitions and all the schoolwork and all that stuff.
It is so good to have that downtime. For us, we've got an outdoor TV and a patio and a couch and stuff. So like on nights when we don't have anything, it's like, and it's finally nice out in this state.
Yeah,
it's better than us. Both
spring's been bad.
It's been obnoxious. It's like, all right, let's just sit out, watch a movie. I'll throw something on the grill. Let's just sit outside from the time we pick you up from school at 3:30 until 8:00.
Yeah,
I mean, let's just relax.
It's great for everybody. It's great for the whole family. Good bonding.
Yeah,
get to hang out. I love those just chilling on the couch, movie night type things. We did it just the other day, and my kids they're still at the ages like we're all snuggled up under blankets. They still like to cuddle with dad. Type stuff, which is awesome. I'm embracing it because I'm sure that with a high schooler, I don't know how long that's going to last. Where he's not giving the attitude about those sorts of things. But
if he's not giving you that much attitude right now, I'm sure you'll be fine. Yeah, that's one thing. Like when you're supportive and your kids feel comfortable coming to you and talking to you about things.
Yeah.
It's like at that point, it's like there's no embarrassment. It's like, well, dad's coming.
Right.
It's like, no, it's just, he's a great leader, great friend.
That's a whole, I 100% agree. It's a huge, it's a huge part. You know, telling the kids every time I see them and drop off at school, I love them. You know, I don't when they go to bed, I just do the same. You know, it was different. My dad was great, but it was a different time. You know, different place, and we had a great relationship later in life, but not really at their ages. You know, it was one of those things I took away from as in self reflection, which I try to do as often as possible. Like, what would I do differently now that I have the opportunity to do something differently? And that was a big part of it, just being involved. Let them know that you love them. Give them hugs and be involved in their life. You know, so it's maybe me overcompensating for stuff I didn't have enough of, but it's also understanding my main task is to make them, you know, grown and functioning, adequate, adjusted adults. So at some point they can replicate and do the same thing in the future and be productive members of society.
Yeah.
But also good humans. Yeah. Have a good heart or have a foundation, have a belief. You know, all of those things.
Yeah.
And I feel like the best way to do that is to lead by example, show them. But to provide that support, pick them up when they're gonna have to learn stuff that we've learned over our time on the planet. Doesn't necessarily we sometimes forget that we didn't know it then. You know, we expect them to think like we think and to do like we do, but we somehow black out on the fact that we didn't do it that way, and we had to learn it in our 30s or 40s, whatever.
Yeah.
So little patience is required too.
I tell you that every time I hear someone, or my wife and I do a pretty good job of reminding each other of this, of like, if Sawyer doesn't listen to us the first time, or he does something that we want to have done, it's like, or he gets emotional about something, or he, you know, throws a fit about this, and it's like, I'm in my middle 30s, and I struggle to, you know, control my emotions on things.
Right.
Like, I'll get really down about something, I'll get upset about something. It's like, I would expect a child who has never experienced this before,
right,
to just be perfect and not throw a fit. And, you know, it's always fun. Before you have kids and you'd be out somewhere and see a kid throwing a tantrum. What is this kid complaining about? And I'm like, dude, I get it. You know how much stuff is going through their mind? Everything is new.
Yeah.
Everything is new. And then you tack on I guess I'll use the word anxiety, just like growing up and finding your place, finding what you're passionate about, and like trying new things. Or, you know, you're going to a school, grade, you don't know people, you start sport. Like, there's so much going on, and if you can be exactly what you said, just be that supporter and be that person who, you know, be that father who allows himself to be present.
Yeah.
Right. Don't be that workaholic that is, you know, on the computer till 6 p.m.
Right.
You know, kids are doing whatever. It's like, oh yeah, good night, guys.
Yeah.
You have to be there. And I do think, like what you said, you know, growing up is a big part of how we're all parents now. You know, your child plays such a role on your adult life, for sure. Is there anything? So you had talked about what you wanted to, you know, instill from, you know, your childhood to your kids. Is there anything that you wanted to make sure that you brought in from your childhood that you really thought was really good values that you learned, good stuff that you want to instill in the kids too?
Yeah, I think that's the hard balance, because I think the hard working, you know, that mindset, where the culture and the families that I grew up in, it goes above and beyond. It's one thing that motivation, kind of that chip on your shoulder, like that was good stuff. It was pressure, but you got, if you're gonna do it, you go all out and you do it. You know, that's, you know, you farm, small town German mindset that I grew up in. You dedicated, you're loyal, you're trustworthy. If I say anything, if you were, I'll get it done. But those kind of core values are huge, in my opinion, just across the board. But those are things that I definitely enjoyed from my childhood.
Yeah.
Seeing that my grandparents and parents and you know, extended family that you're working on. You know, there might be opportunities that they didn't always win, or situations didn't always turn out, but it wasn't for lack of effort.
Yeah.
And so that's a big one I try to instill in the kids, and it goes back to the sports stuff too. Like if you want it, you got to go get it. You got to outwork everybody to do it. Mm-hmm. You guys are going to be small guys. I'm 5'7", 5'8". My ex is 5'3", 5'4". Like they're not going to get by sized. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to get by and outworking the rest of the people, because you're probably going to be 5'7", 5'8", 5'9" in your life.
Yeah.
Not that that's bad. There's upsides to it, especially if you're a gymnast. But
yeah, but you're not going to be a 7-foot basketball player. Sorry.
Yeah. So then our work, I think, would be the thing that I would say for sure would be on that list. But just the loyalty, being trustworthy, dependable.
Yeah.
Be man of your word. That's those are just, and that's what I look for in relationships and friend groups. You gotta have my back. Mm-hmm. The minute that stuff, I don't feel that, or that you've proven that it's not on the table, it's not going to be friends.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
Yeah, there's too much other stuff going on in life to fill it with friends that aren't going to have your back. Mm-hmm. It's just like fluff, mm-hmm. Right? Like if there's not a value add, it's like maybe there's nothing wrong with the person. It's like it's just. Yeah, I don't have enough capacity. I've got some kids that I need to, give everything to. I'm not getting filled up elsewhere. Mm-hmm.
No, that's a great way of putting it. I think I've looked at that analogy. I had learned it from a friend, another dad I used to work with. That he talked about, and he gave me this advice. And I was going through my course. It's like everybody has a bucket, and you have a bucket, I have a bucket, your wife has a bucket, friends have buckets, and I can pour some water into your bucket from time to time. I can pour, but if I pour all my water and give it to everyone who's filling, I need someone to fill up my bucket. Mm-hmm. So where's that come from? Where's it coming from? If everyone's taking, to your point, if I'm spread that thin, now I have the problem. Mm-hmm. It's like the old giving tree, right? Give everything away. Mm-hmm. Now it's sitting there as a stump. Nothing to get.
That's one of our favorite books to read with Sawyer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a classic, right? When I was a kid,
yeah,
got it on my kids' library too.
Yep.
But it's a perfect way of kind of representing that analogy. It's like you need to find something or someone to fill up your book. Mm-hmm. And if it's not, that's only bad, is what I get from what you said. Like there has to be something that can come back, mm-hmm. or someone that can come back.
Yeah. Yeah. We were actually just talking about, similar guy introduced for podcast, we were talking about compliments. Mm-hmm. And when, I think as men, I think women take compliments better. Men, when they get compliments, it's easier to just kind of brush off.
Right.
Right. But it's like you're doing such a great job. Like, yeah, well, it was the team. It was, joining
no big lives.
Yeah, big kill time. But what it does is it robs the person who's complimented you, because that's actually a way for them to fill up their bucket by saying, I gave to this person, it makes me feel really good.
Yep.
And when someone doesn't accept the compliment or they brush it off, it's like, oh, well, that wasn't a big deal, then I don't have to compliment that again.
Right.
Even though it probably wasn't really nice to hear, like, you did such a good job with this or that ability. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's our egos or if it's just like our humbleness of like trying not to be cocky or arrogant or something, where we'll deflect compliments.
That's a really good point. I think that is it does seem to be more a man problem.
Yeah,
that's gonna you could compliment your wife or another woman and say, I really like your dress, or they thank you.
Yeah,
and be like, oh, I like that, and I do like that. What do you think for her?
Yeah, thanks.
Most guys would be like, whatever.
No, I love it. Yeah, I finally got some father figures that were put together.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a big part of raising young men is to tackle those things, and to, like you said, that old school mindset of guys always have to be tough. I see a lot of this out there. Mm-hmm. When I'm either on social media looking at things, it could be Facebook, TikTok, whatever. Like that's such it's easy. It's absolutely true. Like the guys were expected to be strong, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, but we have a lot of that same stuff going on, man, and we're not always okay.
No.
And it's okay to not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to get over that pride and that ego aspect of things, and not just brush it under the rug and
Yeah.
put it away because it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we're not living it, thinking about it actively, it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And I encourage everyone, specifically dads, if we're struggling, like you have responsibility, but your responsibility is to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
However that is, and find help, find an outlet, find.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be that way, and it doesn't mean you're not a man.
Yeah.
It just means you are a man. That's what we all are.
Mm-hmm.
Fragile humans.
Yeah.
We get broken sometimes.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong. The one thing there is wrong with is to ignore it.
Yeah. It hurts everybody else. It's everybody. You're trying to be strong before we really get to start.
Yeah. So it's the opposite of what your intent is.
Mm-hmm.
That's
pride and pridefulness is it can help in certain situations, but a lot of times it doesn't. It just kind of gets in the way of moving on from something that isn't going well or a hard season in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why don't my kids listen to this, or why are they doing this, or why is my business like going backwards these months? Like, what's happening?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, there's always going to be something there, and the quicker you can talk to someone, whether that's you have a friend group, you spend time praying, and
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it may be, you're able to have an outlet and talk about it. My wife always talks about so when she's coaching people, she likes to unpack their poo bag.
Yeah.
So she's like, think of it as a backpack you hold on, and in the backpack is all the things that you think you are,
Yeah.
or things you hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
It's who you identify as, and if you identify as stressed, if you identify as someone who can't share things, you have baggage sitting back there. Like, who can you find that can help you unpack that poo bag, take things out of there that aren't serving you, and help lighten the burden on your shoulders?
Yeah.
And so I always love that analogy of, like, when you have something sitting in that poo bag that isn't serving you, it's just weighing you down, find someone to help you take it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's great. I think a lot of the time it's just talking. It doesn't even need to be someone like a professional or someone that can help. If it's a business situation, it doesn't have to be that. It's just maybe sometimes talking, getting out of your own head, and just putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was growing up, in advanced math, and my mom was a kindergarten teacher. She wasn't. She was a smart lady, but she hadn't done anything, and she wasn't helping me teach. But sometimes I'd come to her with a complicated math problem and just talk to her for 5 seconds, and she'd say nothing.
Yeah.
And then, like, I figured. And I figured out because I was stuck in the gears were, they were long takes. I was in my own head trying to figure it out just by myself. Just open your mouth sometimes, have a conversation, and you'll get clarity. Without the other person even doing anything. Or maybe even better, maybe they'll just ask even if it's not their area of expertise. Their vantage point is so much different.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll ask a question, not necessarily being specific to your situation, but it'll be something you can't see because you've blind spot.
Yep.
You've been stuck in this spot for too long, and then you're like, oh gosh, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. That might be it.
Mm-hmm.
And that can happen for not just business stuff or it's life. Like, if you have a difficult relationship and you're between husband and wife or whatever, she does this and drives me crazy. Where it's creating a lot of tension. Talk to somebody, they may be like, why? Did you thought about it from her perspective? Because a lot of times we don't.
Yeah.
We're just still very
100%.
frustrates me.
Yep.
Why is it? What do you think it does to her? And why do you think this? You can't find a middle ground or just have a conversation about it. I agree with you. Unpacking that bag is essential.
Yeah. One of our guests that we had on the show He was talking about in a group that they have where when someone comes with a problem, he's like, this was great for kids, spouses, whoever. When they come to you with a problem, I don't know about you, but I always end up trying to fix things.
Exactly. I was going to say that.
And I'm like, oh, I got the answer. Or he's like, in our group, you're not allowed to give advice and you get red cards. Even if you ask a question that says like, have you tried this? Like that's not it. Or that's not a question, it's advice.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll show a red card.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nope, you're not doing
I
that.
didn't do that.
Like, there's no advice given. It's just asking questions to get people like you said. Sometimes they don't even read the questions. It's like
Right.
they spit it out and their heads spin and then they think about it. But it's the same with kids and business, and they're dealing with clients and things like that, and they're coming to you with a problem. Like, yeah, sometimes they want you to fix it, but a lot of times it's easier to just kind of put it back on them. This guy, if you said this person's perspective, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I would say that's been a simple little question, huge challenge for me, and I know it was a source of frustration in my marriage because I get paid to fix problems, and so that's what I always did. Like that's on my brain works logic. Then like, well, how do we fix this? Well, my ex would tell me a lot of the time, she's like, I just want to talk. You're not working right now. You're not trying. And my stubborn, German being was like, okay, but
Yeah.
what about like how do we fix it? And so I've had to do the work on that.
Yeah.
And I try to take that mindset with, even with my kids. Like I'm not. Sometimes I just want to talk. Like they're not coming to me to fix anything. No, they just want to be heard.
Yeah.
And given that, and trying to do that in new relationships or in friendships, even with clients, to your point, sometimes it's about fixing it. Sometimes I just want somebody to talk to. And you can help by not. The moment you go into I'm going to fix it mode, it's not just a talking conversation anymore.
No, not at all. So let's start because I want to touch on your practice and then the junior cup. So we talked about your practice a little bit, but starting that, you said 6.5 years ago.
Yeah, I think so.
What's been your biggest challenge with obviously with the boys and raising them? Sounds like you do a pretty good job of trying to cut time off and things. But is there times where you struggle with shutting things off and trying to be present with the kids, and how do you manage?
Sure. Yeah, it used to be worse. Obviously when
You're starting,
when I was starting, it was like I gotta get this stuff done, and I did have took a little bit to get clients. Then once I got clients, I'm like, I'm not gonna maybe fine tune them. So I really have always wanted to be pretty. I have a small area of expertise. Not maybe area of expertise, but focus.
Yeah.
I'm not a general practitioner. I'm not all things for everybody. And I learned really early in my career, I've got a policy. I don't like working with people I don't like, or that are just not nice people. I call it something else, but this is the family friendly podcast. But it's I have that policy.
Yeah.
I had to learn the hard way with some early clients when I first started practicing law, because those ones they suck your bucket dry. One of those might be they might pay you for a bunch of stuff to do, but it's just not worth it. They're going to leave you emotionally drained all the time. So focusing on the technical stuff I wanted to do was step one, and then step two is, well, how many clients and what type of client. So I've got that naturally came. Those opportunities, and I passed on a lot of them. I try to limit my practice to 5 to 10 active clients at a particular time. They tend to be larger projects. So, any ebb and flow. I do a lot of. I get involved in a lot of business by purchases or sales of businesses. And if like right now, I've got 3 or 4 on either side that are under contract. Well, they're on a very similar timeline, which is kind of terrifying because those things heat up. The last couple of weeks are really, really busy. So try to get in front of it as much as possible. Do the work, do the work. But I typically am diligent in scheduling. If I do face-to-face stuff or meetings like this, it's set times. I can't, I'm not flexible. I don't lead into my kid time.
I love that.
And if people have a problem with it, they're not clients.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's only fair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want this, you have to. It comes with this expectation.
Mm-hmm.
There are times because of deadlines or closings or things, or after the kids go to bed, I'll go in my office and I'll work for a little bit.
Yeah.
Or I'll get up early and I'll work before they get up. But I'm present when they're present.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is by not even necessarily by choice, because I can't sit on my laptop when I'm coaching baseball or golf or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
we're trying to make dinner to somehow take it to go in the car.
Right.
Stuff you guys do on.
So it's just a hard no.
Yeah.
That stuff. I'm not doing stuff. I'm not responding to emails at 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Because this is their time.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the expectation, we'll shake hands and I'll find somebody else.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's the way to do it. Find people. Like you said, the client base you want to have, you're not looking for 1,000, 2,000 clients.
I don't want that. I want the relationship.
You want the good relationships where everything lines up and the check boxes all line up to where when you're like, hey, I'm heading out of town with my kids this weekend. I'm like, sweet, let's talk on Monday.
Right.
You enjoy it.
Right.
They're not gonna be like, oh, I need you on Friday afternoon at 4:30 for this. No, can't do it. No. It's a beautiful thing about running your own business. It's being told we work with it's working for someone else.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And that was the impetus really behind the direction set. Yeah. I wanted to be more involved. I was always going to be active in their lives, and truthfully, I just didn't want to let people tell me I couldn't. So I started my own business, and now I'm the boss. And for better or worse, yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot that goes on.
Oh yeah,
but it's it's been great. I've enjoyed it. I've had clients, a number of them over the years, and some of these, a lot of them have turned into friends or were friends before. So that's the beauty of it. Yeah, get to do something you love for people that you like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell us about this. A good transition. Talk to us about the junior cup.
Mm-hmm.
So in the last few minutes here, I want to make sure we touch on that.
Sure.
And it was a passion project for you that started with an idea and all of a sudden it's blown up. And
that's exactly right. It's now 3.5 years ago. So it was 2021, I guess, early 2021. A friend of mine that I coached some baseball with over the years by the name of Ian Gonzalez, another Hamilton, we're in the Sussex Hamilton School District.
Okay.
The kids are kind of mixed together. He has 3 kids and I have 2, and they kind of intertwine with each other because they're freshmen. They're like 1 year apart, but they're not the same age. They've played sports, and he knew I was a golfer. Called me kind of middle of that year, and was like, there's really nothing out there for junior golfers. And we've coached junior baseball, both of us, for years. There's baseball, there's soccer, there's dance, there's other things, but there's no other than rec programs. And if you're lucky enough to have get a golf club, there's junior golf programming, things like that. And I'm like, you're right. There's nothing that exists up there. Yeah. So we got together. We brought in another guy, Matt Baker, and Ian's wife Christine is instrumental in all of this as well. So she's the absolute workhorse, and we'll get to that when we talk about the facility that we have. But the first year we started, it was Sussex Hamilton and Menominee Falls were the first 2 schools. So we built it around kind of a school district model. Okay. 3rd through 8th grade for kids in those districts. And the hope was to build it as a kind of a developmental program that would go take these kids and eventually turn them into high school first, if that's what they wanted to do. So that was great. The first year we just kind of put flyers in school mailboxes and had them share the news around. Yeah. And we only had 1 night a week at Fairways of Woodside. They had 4 track nights in place. So we had 2 sessions. We could fit about 32 kids. So 16 per session for an hour and a half each. We had 65 to 70 kids try out in Hamilton. Wow. And we were like, oh my God. We have to do tryouts. Like, we have too many people. that showing up, and that's like that. I was shocked by that. I was also saddened by it because all these kids wanted to play golf. We just didn't have facilities to do it. But Menominee Falls did a different facility up north, and they had probably about the same. I think they had like 40 kids try out for like 24 spots. So either way, we had like 56 kids that first year, and it was great. It's built off a coach instruction model or parent coach model. So I'd be involved. We had some PGA professionals that would come and kind of give us some basics. And had the high school coaches were active and they were interested in it. So we did that first year. Second year, we're like, well, let's get 2 nights so we can get fairly visible outside. Great. So now we can double. We have 64 kids. We have 120 kids try out the second year. Menominee Falls had kind of bumped up just a touch. They probably were at like 30.
Yeah.
And then late, so we're going through our trials. We get word that Brookfield East is interested in a program. We don't have enough facility space.
Yeah.
But they turned out like 40 or 50 kids, and they might have been the biggest cause of why we needed to go get bigger space.
Yeah.
Because they were practicing in like high school gymnasiums, hitting in screens. Like they didn't have a simulator, they didn't have the facilities. And truthfully, like we were still stuck kind of in that bar simulator environment. You know, that's what those places are.
Yeah.
You go to Let's Golf, you go to a Pin High, it's great, but it's not made for kids.
No. So
we started that looking around. Middle of that year, we're looking for industrial, commercial type space, something. And initially, we were just looking for like 3,000-4,000 square feet. So we were going to put 5-6 simulators, however many we could fit there. We're just going to put simulators there. And then we can consolidate our groups in one spot. Probably late spring. Yeah, it was early spring of last year. I'm driving by my good friend Brian's building on County Highway. He owns a building, and I see the sign front it for lease. Well, I had asked him probably 6 months prior if you have any space. He owns a few different buildings, and if you want any open space in this kind of parameters, let me know before you list it, and I can put it to use. Well, he forgot. And I still give him a hard time. But he's like, I forgot what I had for lunch yesterday. Like he could, and I, it's all good. Anyways, we walk in and it's 7,350 square feet, and it's like an old warehouse.
Yep.
It's hard to even fathom what this could become. But we ended up negotiating, signing a lease that took over occupancy, I think in October of last year, and then the fun started.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen the facility. It's great.
Yeah. And it's a labor of love for a lot of people. We had some aspects of it were professionally done, but a lot of it we did ourselves.
Yeah.
And it took a village. We had people that were much handier than me. I learned an amazing amount of things from a non-handy background.
Yeah.
I laid the flooring in there, a lot of it.
It looked good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. But Christine was like our project manager.
Okay.
She had the vision. Her and Ian, they laid everything out. It took us 2 months. We opened officially, kind of soft open in December of last year, and then we started this year's programming in January. Once we got our occupancy permit, we had trials outside before that. So I mentioned before, we're probably at like 90 to 100 kids, maybe the year before. We're up to 350 kids right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
just bringing the juniors into the world of golf. I agree. Baseball, ball sports, they're great. They're not a lifelong sport.
No,
golf is a sport like you can just continue to play until you're 90 and just go out and even 100.
Yeah, my grandmother who just passed away at 104, she taught me how to play golf.
Really?
40 years ago. She would haul me out to like the Devil's Lake Town and Country Club in our little 9-hole course.
Yeah.
She played until she was probably close to 90 years old.
Yeah.
And probably would have played until she was 104, but she had macular degeneration, cataracts. She couldn't see anymore. Which makes it pretty hard to play golf. But not impossible. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But that was really for me, thinking about that and the kids and the legacy of it, like she was in my mind the entire time.
That's beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah, she was super influential. I forgot to mention we did add beyond those three schools I mentioned. Germantown is also in the program now, and Kevin Rain. Kids that are in the program they probably. So it's been nice that location worked out just perfectly for that. It's a little bit further drive for some, little less drive for others, but we're pretty well at that capacity.
Yeah.
There. So I think when you and I met, you toured the facility. We're we're prospecting for additional space, including I'd love to get up here.
Yeah.
In your neck of the woods, because we have a lot of interest from Arrowhead, a lot of interest from Pewaukee, Oconomowoc, like the Lake Country schools.
Yeah.
I just need to get that because those kids, those are big schools. They're right here.
Yeah, you get another 400 just from the schools out here.
Correct. Yeah. So we're looking at opportunities out this way for that expansion, and what that might look like for next golf season.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. You've taken on a lot while still being there for the kids, growing your business, taking care of clients, helping hundreds of kids to get into the wonderful golf, game that we love.
Yeah.
I would call it an obsession. It's a passion, but it is an obsession.
Yeah.
You often will play terrible. Like, I can't wait for tomorrow.
Well, it's not
back and play.
It's the hardest game, and that's the life lesson of it, really.
Yeah.
I think that there's so much that you can take from it. I tell the kids all the time, you get frustrated. You're going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
It'll never end. It's more, this is a pursuit more so than it's a mastering.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen.
No.
You can't control the wind. You can't control the lies. You can't control, that little swing change that, it's going to frustrate you, but you're going to also hit that one or two really great shots someday, and you're never going to stop talking. Because it's going to bring you back. You're going to have a huge smile on your face. It's the greatest game, I think, that I'd love to instill, at least give them exposure and opportunity to light that flame, find that passion.
That's amazing. Well, before we wrap up, I always ask one final question to kind of end it out. But what does being a father figure mean to you? And if you could wrap it up and you think of yourself and say, what does being a father figure mean to me?
I think I told you right when we started, it's the greatest thing I'll ever to do.
Yeah.
And it means, that's, I think sums it up for me. It's everything. I wouldn't say that I sat around as a kid aspiring and being like, I can't wait to be dad. But I'm so lucky that I'm blessed that I had that opportunity to do it. So I guess it means the world. Just to have that responsibility and that opportunity to bring two young men and help them mature into those men that they will be. It's the greatest thing I'll ever do.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Well, I appreciate you. Yeah, we'll sign off. We'll these come out again every Tuesday morning. So you guys stay tuned for the next one. This one should be out soon. And awesome. Yeah, we'll keep them running. Yeah, appreciate you coming on. So take care, everybody.